If you're an influencer that has your children involved in the influencing platform you've created, there are some brand new laws coming out of Illinois that impact how those influencers are going to be able to interact and create their content with their children being involved. This is something that we could see a ripple effect from. So, if you're an influencer outside of Illinois, these are things you need to know as well, and how to prepare in case your state adopts some of these laws, and what to do just to be a good, ethical person inside of influencing with your children as well. We're going to talk to everybody's favorite IP and entertainment lawyer, Tony, to find out more.
My name is Tony Iliakostas. I'm an adjunct professor of entertainment law and IP at New York Law School, and I have an Instagram, YouTube, and TikTok account called The IP Professor that's dedicated to all things intellectual property.
We're going to talk a little bit about child influencers and the children of influencers right now because Illinois has come out with a new law that actually has to do with kids appearing in content. Tony, what does that look like for influencers? Can you break that down from a legal perspective for us?
Absolutely. So this is a new statute that has passed in the state of Illinois. Will go into effect in July of 2024, and this is SB 1782, passed by the Illinois Senate. And this is a really interesting statute that amends existing child labor law that is in the state. So obviously, with the growing trend of influencers and people making money off of being full-time influencers, whether that's generic content creation, like being a vlogger, or even being more of a niche type of content creator, we are seeing the rise of people making money through branded partnerships or through conventional monetization, like what you see with YouTube and Google AdSense, or even with TikTok's creator program. But in addition to everyday people, like actual adults making money on TikTok or YouTube, you are seeing kid creators also in this space, monetizing off of their likeness in some capacity. They may appear in their parents' vlogs, or they may appear in their parents' videos as kind of like a contributor to it, or the child kid creator themselves has their own channel. I think there's this kid named Ryan who has this massive following on YouTube for toy reviews. So I mean, obviously, this is a growing trend that we've seen over the last few years for sure, with the
Mhm.
proliferation of social media and content consumption on those platforms. Well, this law will basically address how those children can be compensated for appearing in their videos, whether it's their own videos or their parents' video.
Mhm.
So 1782 basically states in a nutshell that they will be entitled to compensation, and all the money that is generated from their appearance in a video will basically be put in a trust, and the children will have access to it when they turn 18 or they're emancipated from their parents. And I'm just reading off to the side a bit more specific language related to this. So a minor who appears again in a parent's vlog, or let's say they themselves create the content, they may not have access to the money right now. It will
Mhm.
be placed in a trust, but this is how the state has calculated how they could get compensated. So they'll be paid at least 30% of the vlogger's compensated video content that is produced within a 30-day period, that includes the likeness, name, and photograph of the minor. Content percentage is measured by the percentage of time the likeness, name, or photograph of the minor visually appears or is the subject of an oral narrative in a video segment as compared to the total length of the segment. And the number of views received per video segment on any platform met the online platform's threshold for the generation of compensation, or the vlogger received actual compensation for video content equal to or greater than 10 cents per view. So this is a very metric based type of model, but it kind of makes sense. If, let's say, you're a mom blogger and your child consistently appears in every single video, you're going to have to use, and you live in the state of Illinois, you'd have to use this specific metric to calculate how much money should be reserved from the money that you collect
Mhm.
from YouTube, from TikTok, wherever, and that money would have to be allotted in the trust, untouched. And that way, once the child turns 18, they have access to that money. That could be college money, that could be seed money for starting their own business if they ever wanted to do that. It's basically their money that they can use from here on out.
And right now, this is in Illinois, but what do you predict for the future of this looking at the country as a whole?
So I think that this could probably lead to, at the bare minimum, I think other states hopping on this bandwagon. Like I said earlier, I don't think there's any denying that with the rise of social media proliferation that this is the new wave of people consuming content.
Yeah.
There are people that are scrolling TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, other social media platforms, even Facebook, still with its pretty robust video platform. There are tons of people that are producing content on those platforms, especially if you're talking about influencers that have a very large following. Odds are that they are successfully monetizing off of their content. And so, if you're a mom blogger or you're a family that has consistently featured your children in your videos, this is something that I think other states are going to have to pay attention to and realize, these children have rights as well. A state may say a child's appearance in a video, let's say it's like a challenge video where they have to do like a certain challenge and they get rewarded, the parent is in some way using that child as free labor. I hate to go there, but it's kind of the truth in reality. So if other states come to this realization that what Illinois is very much ahead of the curve, I think that they're certainly going to hop on this bandwagon. My odds are, I have a feeling that a lot of labor-heavy type of legislations or states rather that value the protection of laborers are going to be the ones that will hop on this bandwagon. So naturally, New York is very worker fair towards workers. I think California is another one that could hop on this bandwagon as well. We could see other states like maybe a Washington state, Oregon, maybe Texas. It could start off with states, but maybe just maybe this could also lead to federal legislation from a more broad perspective, where this type of language is passed and it's put into effect. So very interesting times. Again, I think what may happen is this statute is going to go into effect in Illinois in June of 2024 or July 2024. So once that is fully in effect, I think a lot of states will just sit back and wait, see how the law goes.
Yeah.
And if it's good, we may see them go into effect in other states, maybe 2025 or 2026.
Okay, let's talk a little bit about the states that have not jumped in on this yet. For people who are living in those states, what are some things that they can do to prepare should their state jump into something like this?
So, I mean, I think realistically, if you are a creator or an influencer of some type and you're using your child's name, image, and likeness in some capacity, and you're not bound by the laws of this Illinois statute SB 1782, because if you don't live in that state, of course, you're not domiciled there. You don't need to worry about that. But if you're the type of parent that does care about your child's future, or you do want to prepare yourself in the event that a statute like this passes, maybe you just proactively start reserving that money that could be set for your child aside. I think that would be realistic. Create a savings account of some sort, put the money in there. Maybe this could be even an opportunity for that parent or that guardian to teach your child about saving money, finances, fiscal responsibility, things of that sort. So I don't think it really hurts. And it's not something, again, that you're necessarily bound to, but it could be one just minute proactive measure that could be taken to at least address what is likely going to be an issue that will spread and span the 50 states. And I definitely think that there will be broad legislation on that specific point in the coming years. So I think why not hop on the curve a little bit early, and that way you're prepared for when that time comes, the legislation passes, and you've already been doing your due diligence and reserving money for your child.
Let's talk a little bit about people who are under this legislation. If they are then having to set aside money for their children, they're having to create those accounts, they're having to do all of those things. What on the legal side of things can they be doing to make sure that they have everything aligned, from creating spreadsheets and paperwork and documentation, just to make sure, should anybody question them, they do have the documentation ready? What types of things from a legal perspective would be helpful?
So this is a great question, and I think we can actually learn a lesson from, oddly, someone like Beyonce, who has been using her daughter, Blue Ivy. I have to remember for a sec because there are too many celebrity kids now. It's kind of like Avengers and the new Avengers. But
Yes.
anyway, I digress. Either way, Blue Ivy is a choreographer for her mom's concerts. She actually dances on stage, and I think she's appeared in a couple of music videos, but she's been a part of her mom's Renaissance tour in recent weeks, and I believe months even. All the dancing that she does is not for free. Beyonce has actually created kind of like an LLC trust fund where she basically has put Blue Ivy on payroll, and that money is tax free. My understanding, I don't know if that's entirely true, but that money has been, she's been paid that money that goes into a trust, and that is Blue Ivy's money for when she, moves on and becomes 18, and when she turns 18, she has access to those funds. I think that's a great example of one way that of being proactive and hopping on the bandwagon. And I'm sure that what Beyonce has done with her legal team is probably figure out, do we need to set up an LLC for Blue Ivy, or should she be paid as an individual? Do we need, because she's a minor, does she have to sign any sort of employment contract for being my choreographer, or as I, the guardian, or the parent rather, am I able to just make that decision automatically, and what have you? What are the legal parameters? What is the legal limit that I can pay my child for being on my payroll?
Mhm.
All of those questions will require the review of a lawyer. And I think in a situation like this, where if you're an influencer, odds are you already are treating your influencer business as a small business where you're being paid where any money that you receive from brand partnerships or monetization is being paid to your LLC. And that's the hope, that you're being paid on a corporation basis and not individually, because God forbid there's ever any sort of breach of contract claim, and there's a suit against you. If you sue the LLC, they can only go after the assets associated with that corporation. If you're sued individually, it's the whole gamut. They could go after everything and anything. So the hope is that as an influencer, you've already done your due diligence, dot your I's, cross your T's by establishing a small business associated with your influencer work. Why not have a lawyer review and see if that's necessary as well for your child? If they're part of appearing in your videos, do they have to sign employment contracts, or is that not necessary? So I think a small business attorney that kind of specializes in the influencer space is someone that could really help you navigate these waters, just making sure, again, that you're legally protected, that you're doing everything sound, and that you're not doing anything that could potentially harm the best interest of your child, but also affect your business broadly as an influencer.
And if you're watching and you are worried or you've got questions about your child appearing in your content, if you want to make sure you're setting them up for success both as an influencer and as a future entrepreneur, go ahead and drop those down below. We're going to continue to have these conversations with Tony and with other experts here on the channel to make sure that you are legally protecting and ethically protecting your children as they are appearing in your content and as you're setting them up for success in the future as well. Tony's coming back for upcoming episodes. So if you have questions on the legal side of entrepreneurship, now's the time to drop those. And as always, you can reach out to Tony on his social medias. Tony, where can everybody find you?
You can find me on Instagram, YouTube, and TikTok at the IP Professor, and you can check out my entertainment law podcast called End Scene. New episodes drop every Friday on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you listen to podcasts.
Follow along for daily videos helping you navigate the world of your social media marketing and your influencing to keep you safe, legally protected on the ethical side of things, and making sure that we're being as creative as possible so that this can be your most profitable influencer year ever. We're helping you navigate the world of social media, creating luxury times out of your business to live your best life while your business is working on your behalf. So drop those questions down below, and we'll see you in the upcoming episodes.